What is it that Henry Ford, John Rockefeller, and J.P. Morgan had in common? Well, yes, they were all very wealthy, but that is an effect of what they really had. The cause is something everyone can have and is just as valuable. As mentioned previously, the effect of what they had was all the money that people remember today. However, the cause of how they got to this something is something that all of us can learn from and implement ourselves. The reason is simple. It's the way they think. It's because of the way they used their minds that they were able to think and grow rich. Wait, that sounds like the title of a book. There are tons of ways to actually start growing your money, whether that be investing in stocks, real estate, starting your own business, and the list just goes on. But they all tie back to one thing. They all require you to start doing them, and doing them well. To be successful in anything you do in the future, you must first think successfully before you can grow to be successful. It's only by making the first step that anything else can start to be achieved. In the book, there are 13 steps to riches, each one being its own chapter. But I noticed that there were a lot of overlaps between the chapters, so I'll be giving a very quick idea on all 13 steps. At the end, I'll include a quick chart on all the steps and what they mean. Above all else in the book, the main takeaway is that in order to be successful, you must first have a burning desire to achieve whatever it is you want. By having a burning desire, it means that you'll be constantly thinking about ways to achieve that desire. It doesn't matter what time the clock says. By having a burning desire, you'll be thinking of ways to achieve with your goal at lunch, at work, or at home. With your burning desire, you'll always be thinking of ways that you can achieve. To help with this, it's important to have specifics in mind in how to achieve this. If everything was super broad, there would be no direction, and you'd just be wandering around aimlessly. Let's say that our specific goal is to become rich enough to retire. Step 1 for this goal, to fuel our burning desire, is to identify a specific dollar amount. If you're wondering about how much it will take to retire and this is your goal, then check out my earlier video with this thumbnail. Now step 2 is what you'll give in return to reach this dollar amount. If it's working longer hours, working more efficiently, learning how to make better returns, saving more, and so on. Step 3 is creating a specific date in which this will happen. Without a date, your plan might take too long for things to get started, or if you're halfway through and you haven't reached the halfway point for your date mark, then you won't be more motivated to make your plan work. Step 4 is making a plan on how this comes together. And this goes back to the many different ways that you can make money, whether that's stocks, real estate, making a new business, and so on. Step 5 is writing all the previous 4 steps onto a piece of paper. And finally, step 6 is to read it to yourself out loud twice a day. This practice is to help with auto-suggestion. Auto-suggestion is how you can help convince your subconscious mind into believing your goals as well. And this was explained in greater detail in the book, but for simplicity's sake, the more that you repeat things to yourself, the more entrenched it becomes in your mind and the more motivated you become. So now you're constantly going to be going over and thinking about how to be rich, or whatever else your goal entails if that's not the case. But how does this actually help? Here's the thing about thinking about a specific goal for such a long period of time. Eventually, you'll come up with an idea, and that idea is what inspires step 4 of what we talked about not too long ago. The more you think about it, the greater and more robust that plan becomes, and the greater the likelihood is that you're going to succeed. But you know what they say about making plans? They don't always go according to plan. What happens when everything that we've worked towards starts to not work out properly? This is why we need to have a burning desire to succeed. Your burning desire to achieve must be stronger than the adversities that you are going to face. And this key quality referenced in the book is called persistence. If someone was truly persistent and never gave up on their goals, then they would never truly fail. Because of this, persistence is the key to avoiding failure. If an obstacle comes into your path and it stops you in your tracks, then that leads to failure. However, If that same obstacle is met with your persistence, which is fueled by your burning desire, then it'll be written off as just a little headwind on your journey, and eventually you'll find success after getting around it. Once we have our burning desire, we have a plan, and move with persistence, we now have the key components to thinking and growing rich. But along the path there will be difficulties. The two obstacles listed are the 6 ghosts of fear and the devil's workshop. The 6 ghosts of fear are in reference to the 6 most common fears people have in general. The purpose of the book is to identify common fears and issues that arise from following these fears and allowing them to manifest. Number 1, the fear of poverty. Fear of this outcome can cause doubt, overcaution, and procrastination. Often, in order to acquire riches, you must take certain amount of risk, whether that's starting your own business, buying real estate, stocks, and so on. The fear of failure in this risk can make people not want to start their journey in the first place. Number 2 is criticism. Being too concerned with what others think will cause issues like suppressed creativity, a lack of self-reliance, or in very extreme cases, depression. If I let half the comments get to me on this channel, I would have stopped making videos a long time ago. It's really just a part of the process of getting bigger. No matter what you do, you're going to have justified and unjustified criticism. It's how you handle these things that will lead to success. Number 3 is the loss of love. This can be either due to them passing away or from not trusting their partners, and this fear can cause lots of stress in the body and mind. Finding a stable and trusting relationship can ease this fear. Number 4 is the fear of illness. The fear of illness is more of a precursor because it leads into the strongest fear. While it's not possible to be immune to illness through sheer willpower, it's worth mentioning that the mind can have a dramatic effect on how you recover or push through sickness. Placebo pills alone can make people feel better because they think that it's helping. So having a healthy mindset, at the very least, will help reduce effects of current illnesses or possibly help to reduce the chance of future ones. Number 5 is old age. By believing and succumbing to the fear of old age, you can feel a loss of independence and a loss in imagination for solving problems. By having a strong mental willpower, you can maintain these key mental strengths and continue to live life with a healthy mindset. Lastly, number 6 is death. To no surprise, this is a fear that many people have, especially when getting older while very sick. It could be considered the most powerful fear that we all have. While not irrational to want to avoid death and continue to enjoy life, the book recommended not to constantly fear death and worry about it. Given that it's inevitable, the way to look at it, as described in the book, is to see everything around us as energy and matter. And no, I'm not going to turn this into a chemistry lesson, but generally speaking, the energy and matter of our life will be simply transformed. Energy or matter cannot be destroyed, just transformed. The book recommended seeing death as merely a transformation where our mind enters an incredibly long resting period and our body moves on to other things. And now we'll get into the next issue that can cloud your mind towards thinking and growing rich, which is the devil's workshop. What is the devil's workshop and what could it be compared to? Imagine your mind being like a healthy farm. By maintaining it well, you can grow wonderful and healthy crops. So too, your mind can grow healthy and allow you to pursue your passions. In that case, the devil's workshop would be the equivalent to producing weeds that suck the life out of your farm. They are things that drain you of succeeding in life due to negative influences in your perception of being able to succeed. And these are the common phrases that come out of the devil's workshop. If only I could catch a break. If only I didn't lose my money in such a stupid way. If only I was born rich. Does dwelling on any of those phrases help the current situation that you or I are in right now? No. So these weeds that are planted in our mind are of no use to us and are sapping us of achieving our full potential. So what's the main takeaway from Think and Grow Rich? It's a book on how to achieve mental strength to aid your financial journey. It'll tell you how to build yourself up and what things you should avoid that will try to knock you down. As mentioned at the start of the video, here are the 13 steps. Now, there was a lot of overlap between a lot of these steps, so I just gave the main ideas of the entire book. However, picking up and reading all the individual chapters will give you a much greater explanation on how to think and grow rich. Check it out with the link in the description below. You might wonder how long it takes to read. It'll be about 5 hours from start to finish, and it didn't have anything challenging in it, so it was a fresh and easy book to pick up. So what book do you want to see next? Leave a comment on what other books you would like to see in the future. And if you enjoyed the video all the way to the end, subscribe and hit the bell to stay up to date on future videos. And if you could hit the like button so others could see this video as well, that would be appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode.